Hey guys, this is Al. I'm over at the house. This is a house garage, and I'm working on my 1990 Jaguar XJ12. So unfortunately I've had some problems with this car, mainly fuel leaks around the fuel injectors. So I took the car over to a body shop to have it looked at for the damage from the rear end accident, and unfortunately when I got there they told me that there was a smell of fuel. They told me that the car smelled of fuel on the next day, so I came back right away. Took a look, and sure enough, one of the fuel hoses had let go. So I had the kid. I was heading out to England the following day, so I couldn't deal with it. Had the kid take the fuel rail off, cut hoses to length, and put the fuel rail back. And it didn't leak for a while, and by all accounts we were reading, and I spoke to a couple of Jaguar specialists who said that the fuel rail doesn't require hose clamps, as long as they're mounted correctly and they're the correct size, and everything's bolted back together again. Everything should hold in place, and there shouldn't be any need to actually have any kind of hose clamps in place. That turned out not to be true, unfortunately. Let me just pull the camera up and I'll show you what I've done so far. Alright, so in order to get to the fuel rail, let me get this out of the way. In order to get to the fuel rail, you have to move these vacuum lines out of the way. I just moved them a little bit out of the way. Hey, how are you? I just moved them a little bit out of the way. Take a few fuel lines off. So there was a line that connects over here. There's another line that connects over there. I took them off completely because I want to get them rebuilt. The hoses didn't look too great. And take the throttle linkage off, which we did. It's right here, taken off. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back in with regular fuel injection hoses, just like we did here. In my mind, I don't understand why you'd want to use those caps. It doesn't make any sense to me. I'm familiar with these style of injectors. They're common on Mercedes, especially the ones with the Digitronic injection. I've always gone back with hose clamps. We use those heavy-duty fuel injection rated hose clamps. They're a lot more stout than, say, the hose clamps that are here on this vacuum line. Those ones are kind of weak and are likely to pop off. These things, they don't pop off. So we're going to go back with these, just put them on the top and the bottom. I figured that while I'm in here, while I take the injectors out, I'm going to put them on my fuel injection rig and get them cleaned up so that they function correctly. Unfortunately, if you look here, all of these fuel injection connectors are broken. Actually, as a matter of fact, there's one that isn't broken, but the rest of them are broken. So I think this one over here is okay. It's not broken, but the rest of them are broken, which is kind of a nuisance. And at some point I'm going to have to take the intake manifold off, and when I do that, then I'll replace all those connectors. But for now, I'll probably connect them back with zip ties and to hold them in place and just make sure that they get held on tight. But that's kind of annoying. It's I didn't expect to have that kind of problem. For now, I'm going to basically remove this fuel rail, disassemble the injectors, put them on my fuel injection machine. It'll probably be another day, probably Tuesday or Wednesday by the time I get to it, because I've got to go back up to the shop and get my ultrasonic cleaner, which I need for this job. But it should run a lot better when it's done, and we shouldn't have any problems with fuel leak. It'll also give me the opportunity to replace these fuel hoses. Let me see where they are. I think I took them. So this is one of the fuel hoses. You can see it's pretty stiff, and it's starting to show cracks. So I'm going to get those and take them, get them rebuilt. So that's it, pretty much. Alright guys, so the fuel rail's now out, and some of these pintle caps, particularly this one over here, is cracked, so I'm going to need to replace the pintle caps. I'm also going to need to get these O-rings over here, which I couldn't find through my local supplier. Wallpack didn't have them, so I'm going to look around and see if I can find them somewhere else. But in any case, I've got a couple of days to figure all of that stuff out. I've got to do the two fuel lines as well, because they're in terrible state. I'm going to poke around and see if I can get some of the other ones as well. I should give you an update in a couple of days and have the thing on the rig. I'm not sure if I'm going to upload the video today with what I've done so far, because it's going to be a small video, but we'll see. Alright guys, well, thanks very much, and I'll catch up with you in a little bit.